Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the books Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate, as well as Theta-Waves Meditation. And I'll put links to my books below. This video is about why sensor perceivers tend to have higher rates of ADHD and ADD. I think it's an interesting topic because we see obviously high rates of mental illness across the population, but why would a particular type of mental illness is more prevalent within, let's say, a particular brain type? I recently watched an interview of Dr. G. Amen. He is a psychiatrist who resides in the United States, and he is very much a specialist of scanning the brain. And I'm going to read an excerpt from my book, Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate, about this topic. So Dr. Amen has been studying the human brain since the early 1990s, and his research uses single photon emission computed tomography of SPECT, which is the acronym, to map our brains. SPECT uses sophisticated imaging technology providing insight into brain blood flow and activity patterns. These brain scans show areas of normal function, areas of low activity, and areas of high activity. And the goal is to have a balanced activity level throughout the brain. Dr. Amen went on a podcast by Jay Shetty, he's rather well known, and he explained that there are 7 types of ADD. So Dr. Amen does not differentiate between ADD and ADHD. He uses only the term ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, to as an umbrella term for those 7 types. And at the core of a brain that has this disorder is the lack of dopamine. And dopamine, it is the neurotransmitter of a motivation. So people who have this lack of dopamine, they tend to be easily bored. They are only be able to focus on activities that interest them. Sometimes to be able to create a sense of urgency, they need chaos, and that's why often they are disorganized. But what is interesting is that if you look at the 4 main personality types, so we have the sensor judgers, the sensor perceivers, the intuitive thinkers, and the intuitive feelers, then you will notice that sensor perceivers are in essence the opposite of sensor judgers. I know that they're both sensors, but sensor judgers, their dominant neurotransmitters is serotonin. And for sensor perceivers, it is dopamine. They're very much opposite in terms of what interests them. So you'll see, for example, sensor perceivers, they like risk, they like things that are exciting and new. So that's why you see them as entertainers. And if a person is a sensor perceiver, especially the left brain dominant type, let's say an ESTP or an ISTP, they tend to actually thrive as entrepreneurs because they usually don't fare well, being controlled by others and being told what to do. And if let's say you look at the sensor perceivers or sensor judgers, they usually don't mesh well because if a person has high dopamine, it lowers their serotonin, because serotonin is really the neurotransmitter of routine and structure, and these are the type of people also who like predictability, and they tend to be more rigid, and they like also tradition, which is really the opposite of the person who is dopamine dominant. So in other words, if you increase someone's serotonin, their dopamine goes down, and the opposite as well. So if let's say you lower someone's serotonin, so the dopamine actually has the opportunity to actually increase. So usually sensor perceivers do not fare well in terms of a romantic relationship with a sensor judger because they're really opposites. And this is something kind of strange because most people believe, well, if a person is a sensor, they should get along well, but it's not necessarily the case. So therefore, each 4 main personality type has a neurotransmitter dominance. And I would actually suggest that people read the book Why Him, Why Her by Dr. Helen Fisher, because she explores that in her book, and it's very fascinating. And it's really in line with other scientists, which is obviously in this case Dr. Daniel Amen. He wrote that book Healing ADD in 2013, if I'm not mistaken, and he has revised it, probably added more information. So I think that if a person is really interested in understanding brain types and they want to better understand sensor perceivers in general, that will be a good way to do so. And there are different ways also to heal that. So in other words, it's not something people say, oh, it's neurodivergence and you can just let the person be. No, if let's say we correct a person's diet, you can reduce actually can heal ADHD in 70% of children just by eating wholesome food. So I think this is really interesting. So you realize that yes, our lifestyle really has an impact on our mental health, and having ADD or ADHD, depending on how people will label it, is not normal, and that actually is a sign that your brain is not getting proper nourishment, and you need to change a number of things in your life, whether you need to exercise, you need to lower your stress, and nutrition is very important to actually treat mental illness in general. So let me know what you think about the content of this video by commenting below. If you like this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button. Also remember to click on the notification bell to be notified of other videos I'm going to be making. Subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.